So today I'm cycling up National Cycle Route 6 where there's a problem. Lancashire County Council want to change the route, but the route that they're proposing has significant problems and will waste taxpayers' money. We're going to have a look up the lines now in a minute to look at what the problem is and why the County Council should rethink this plan. The National Cycle Route currently ends here because further up the lines, as we'll see, there's a problem taking the National Cycle Route forward. Instead, cyclists have to travel down onto Mill Lane and up Alliance Street here. We'll look at that route in a minute. And this is the problem behind me. The old railway line comes to an end. The land was sold off many years ago to Baxenden Chemicals and it's now fenced off. And you can see behind quite a bit of land has been sold. Now the alternate route is to come down the path and then go behind the factory, which you can see behind me where there is some land and the factory starts, and to go the other side of the factory and come out on the old railway line the other side on Rising Bridge Road. The County Council have tried to acquire this land, but Baxenden Chemicals don't want to sell. I believe they should try a bit harder and again go back, rather than waste money on the route that we're about to look at. So the current route comes along Mill Street in Baxenden, where the scrapyards are, and then goes up Alliance Street onto the main road, where it goes to Rising Bridge. Lancashire County Council want to move the existing National Cycle route off the main road. Now the new route proposed by the County Council will come off the railway lines, National Cycle Route 6, the junction before at Hurstead Street, and go up this very steep incline. I'd be very surprised if anyone cycles all the way to the top of here without getting off the bike. And secondly, this is used by farm track vehicles, gets rutted and potted, so it has high maintenance. I don't understand why the County Council would choose this route, but there's a second problem further up. Now that took some doing up Hurstead Street on an e-bike on full power. But then you have to cross the busy Manchester Road, and behind me you'll see the gable end on the opposite side, where you'll go up to Back Lane via a narrow track. One of the benefits of this scheme will be one of two crossings that will be located here at the top of Hurstead Street, which will benefit the children. However, I do believe this should come out of the general budget and not be funded by cycling. And the second issue that we have with the National Cycle route coming along Back Lane is Back Lane itself. It's very narrow, as you can see behind me. It gets iced up in winter and there's oncoming traffic or traffic behind with quite a narrow lane. Doesn't make it safe. It accumulates ponding, which is black ice in winter, and is not ideal. People will not take this route. They'll take the current route along the main road, so I don't see the purpose of making the National Cycle route come along Back Lane. I'm just further along on Back Lane, again another narrow section behind me you can see, quite badly rutted, which it does rut Back Lane. It's a long stretch of highway that would need to be maintained to keep the National Cycle route in order, and very costly to Lancashire County Council, and I wonder whether they've thought about this. So behind me, we're at the other side of Baxenden Chemicals now, where the line should come through. You can see the chemical works, and just to the side here down the road is the old railway line. Now there's plenty of land for it to go around the chemical works, which is Lancashire County Council's preferred route, and rejoin the road where we're stood now and get back onto the National Cycle route. Now there is a third problem here on Hood-Hay Road, where it's very difficult for the cycle lane to pass with all the traffic. This causes an enormous problem with complaints from residents. It's had an impact. We're going to have a look at that impact now. Lancashire County Council's proposed plan is to descend from Back Lane along Hoyle Street, which you can see in the distance on the right hand side, for there to be a new crossing to cross over and for cyclists to go down the footpath or the new cycleway, round the tight turn by the post office and then move towards Rising Bridge Road. There's been some suggestion that because of the problems on the other side of the motorway at the bottom of Hood Hay, alongside the problems outside Rising Bridge Post Office, that the new cycle route from Back Lane will be redirected through Rising Bridge Play Park and then perhaps towards the King's Highway and taking a different route before joining up further down the line. This is an extremely circuitous way of planning a new route, as opposed to the 300 metres that are required behind Baxenden Chemicals. It's difficult to understand why Baxenden Chemicals are not engaged in selling that land for the purpose of the cycle route, for there's nothing for them to gain from not selling it, and also why the County Council would incur so much expense having this long route around because they are unable to acquire that 300 metres. Now, this national cycleway to me makes little sense. Most people will still go up Alliance Street, they'll still travel down Manchester Road either on the footpath or on the main road past Holland's Pies and turn at Rising Bridge down Rising Bridge Road. Yet the County Council have committed to a huge expense to go along Back Lane, a route which people won't choose because of the steep incline and because it's rutted and the problems that have been identified. And if there are further problems, such as here at Rising Bridge, which redirect it along the King's Highway, that's an incredible length of new national cycleway that's been put in, rather than the 300 metres that's missing at the back, and they are flat at the back of Baxenden Chemical Works. It's rather bizarre that we've ended up in this position, and of course there'll be an ongoing cost to Lancashire County Council for maintenance of this exceedingly long circuitous addition to the national cycle route, which moves away from the railway line, which is the heart of the national cycle route between Accrington and Stubbins. It makes no sense. I've written to Lancashire County Council to ask for an explanation, and they say that Baxenden Chemicals simply don't want to sell. But I would ask, do Lancashire County Council come to Rising Bridge? Do they come to Aslington, Accrington? Have they spoken directly? Have they really made a big effort to make sure that they purchase that land from Baxenden Chemicals? There's been some other issues with Baxenden Chemicals in the area which haven't always been conducive or welcoming between the council or councils and Baxenden Chemicals, and one wonders whether that is having an impact on this particular decision. This is the reply I received from Lancashire County Council on the 10th of January. I wrote, because I'm so concerned, to the MP, my successor, Sarah, and she sent the same reply back from Lancashire County Council. I think what I want to try and understand is why this particular route, and why do they think that people will use this route, and how much is this route going to cost? You know, and I've written back to Sarah to see what her particular view is on this national cycle route, and to see if it's value for money, and see if we can persuade the county council together that they ought to change their mind. This decision has not come before Cabinet as expected in the time that was suggested it may come, and I wonder if that's because where we are now on Northfield Road and the problems that they're having at Rising Bridge and beyond at Hood Hay has resulted in them trying to look at this elongated route via the King's Highway. It would be welcome if the County Council came out to people and explained, or at least put on the online on the website, maps and an explanation of where they are as part of a consultation. But that's not happened, and so one is left guessing as to where this actual route is going, but there doesn't seem to be any clear sense of direction. And for the 300 metres that are potentially available at the back of Baxenden Chemicals, I can't understand why that route is not being pursued with some vigour, because it clearly would be low maintenance, it would be flat, it would suit cyclists, it would almost be on the current Accrington to Stubbins rail line, and therefore it would make sense. Let's see what happens. I'm going to write once again to the Cabinet, to Jeff Driver, and I'm going to ask him to look at this route, look at the problems on this route, and whether he understands some of the concerns of residents in this area, as well as council taxpayers and cyclists who don't think that this is the right route,